Bed and Breakfast is live on a Thursday. What is good, everybody? Welcome in. Glad to have you with us. Ben Heisler, Donnavan Smoot. I think I pointed the wrong way for you. And then Iain MacMillan. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, on streaming, on social media, glad to have you. For those of you that are listening on the audio side, welcome as well. Guys, it's good to see you. We got plenty on the program today. We got our Thursday Pro-Am where we take a look at some of our favorite college and NFL games, debate the game that we want to play that we're going to already bet on, and as well as the game to fade, along with our best bets for Thursday night. But I wanted to start off the show today by, sometimes we're a fairly new podcast. BetSide just got started several months ago. So I feel like a lot of our audience is just taking an opportunity to get to know us. And I think we're all trying to get to know each other as well. I learned this week when we were all hanging out talking together that Donnavan is one of the most brave men I have ever met in my entire life. Like, it's taken me a while just to grow this, but Donovan's out here at the age of 15 years old, first time ever shaving, straight razor on the side.
Old school.
How do you do it? How are you not terrified as a child learning that's how you're going to shave?
I was never like shown how to shave with the regular razor that you see all the time. So it was just like, okay, this is what you use to shave. That's what it was. And so I just knew try not to cut myself, which I did. And I ended up like literally taking off a piece of like my skin right here and had to wear the band-aid. It was that day was awful. I had like I was in marching band, had a game the next day and had the big old hat and the big old band-aid right there. You can see it from 50 yards away. So I mean, that was trash.
And I think this conversation started because we were all on our video together for our best bets and our early leans of the week, which you can also find on YouTube. And Iain, you were a little bit concerned because you had cut yourself shaving. Obviously, everything looks good, but like, have you done that in a while? Have you had any other times where like you've injured yourself in the most mundane of ways? Because I have a story for you guys.
Let's hear it.
Oh no, I'm teeing you up. Like, was there anything for you? I feel like I have to close this one.
Yeah, I feel like I constantly hurt myself in mundane ways. I did cut myself shaving, which I do quite often. I don't know if you can see it in that video, but I'm constantly wiping my chin because I'm concerned that I'm gonna be bleeding all over the place during the video. But my worst one came back in summer camp. I want to say I was maybe like 10 or 11 years old. And I thought it would be really funny, and I thought this was a good way to get girls, was during arts and crafts, was to hot glue gun rocks up and down my arm. And I had 8 up each arm, 1 fell off, and I was like, oh, I need to put more glue on it. So I coated it with about an inch of hot glue and stuck it on my arm. And still to this day, I have a long sleeve shirt. You can't see it. Actually, maybe I can pull it up here. I still have the burn mark on there.
No
I don't know
way.
if you can see it all right there.
What? How old were you when this happened?
Like 10, 11 years old. Just hot glue gunning rocks on my arm like a moron. And now here I am 28 years old and I still have to deal with the burn mark. So I would say that's definitely my most mundane injury. Self-inflicted, a little hot glue gun in arts and crafts. It happens.
Donovan, can you top that? I don't know if mine can. Mine is pretty solid.
No, I don't hot glue rocks onto myself. I don't know if I could top that. I don't necessarily like have a story like that. What I do know is I'm kind of clumsy and I'll just walk and my ankles will buckle. And then just like on just like a random Tuesday, I'll have like a twisted ankle for a couple of days. And so like maybe I got to do like some ankle stretches, some mobility, start wearing some high tops, something. But I twist my ankles a lot.
All right, we're planning our first bet-sided get together. I know that if we're playing ball, I'm gonna cross you up. I'm just prepared for that.
No. That's different. That's different.
Okay, different type of ankle break. For me, I was about 10 years old. It was my first day ever at overnight summer camp, and we were playing shoe golf. And for anyone who's never played shoe golf, you put your shoe sort of on the edge of your foot and you fling it towards a certain target and you keep score the same way you would for golf. And I'm not a flexible person by any means, but somehow the first time I ever attempted a game of shoe golf, I kicked myself in the face. And I like knocked myself out.
I realized that both of our stories happened at summer camp, Ben. So maybe Maybe that's a sign. Maybe we should shut down summer camps.
Yeah, I think summer camps could probably take a safety class or two to help everybody out. By the way, shout out to everybody on the chat. I see Brian, I see Young Acorn, Beers and Bow Ties is hanging out with us. Glad that you guys are spending some time with us on a Thursday morning. Salute to all of you. Let's kick things off. We got a little bit of our pro-am. We did this last week on Thursday. I thought this was a really fun segment where we went through big slate of NFL and college football games. We're already at week 11 for college, already at the second half point for the NFL. So I kind of want to go through this with you guys, find out the one game that you're on for Sunday, could also be for Monday or Saturday as well. And then the one game that you're going to go ahead and clearly stay away from, because this is a time where I think it's also important to know who to stay away from and make sure that you're not just diving in on games that we probably feel a little bit less secure about. So Iain, let me kick things off to you. Which of the games do you want to play and which of the games do you want to fade this week?
Yeah, I really want to play the Saints-Titans. I'm ready to fade this Titans team. I know they just came off an extremely impressive win on Sunday night against the Rams. But, I mean, all you have to do is take a look at the Titans' yards per play last week, because I didn't know this until I looked at the numbers last night, but the worst offense in every single NFL game last week were the Titans. I think it was only 3.5 yards per play they gained, and now they're going up against the Saints defense that is the top red zone defense in the league, the top run defense in the league. This Titans team is overrated. Yes, they did beat the Rams, but they still clearly struggled on offense without Derrick Henry. So I'm very excited to bet on the Saints as 3-point underdogs. And the game that I would recommend probably staying away from is that Bills game, minus 13-point favorites. I mean, and we just don't know what version of the Bills team is going to show up this week. Is it going to be the Bills team that lost to the Jaguars last week, or is it going to be the Bills team that beat the Texans and the Dolphins early in the season by a combined 1,000,000 points? I have no idea which version of the Bills team is going to show up week in and week out. And now, especially with them being a 13-point favorite, I would recommend staying away from that one.
Yeah, Buffalo's still 4-3-1 against the spread this year. So they've been fairly inconsistent, but you're right. There's times where they should be clear-cut winners, and they've just let teams hang around. And then for other games that you thought might be a little bit closer, they've completely blown them out of the water. What about for you, Donnavan? Is there a game or matchup that you feel really strongly about heading into the weekend? And then maybe another one that you're just like, I want nothing to do with this?
Yeah, I think right now there's a battle between the Texans and the Lions for who's the worst team, and who can embarrass themselves more on a weekly basis. I think the Lions are winning that right now just because they're still winless, and so I really like the Steelers minus 8.5. Lions are 29th in scoring offense, 31st in scoring defense, so they haven't won a game. The 25th in turnover margin. And even though that they've covered a good amount of games, to be honest, I don't want to act like they losing every game by 35 points, but they've lost by at least 9 points in five of their 8 games, right? So this is clearly a spot that they are in quite often, and so I think the Steelers have a really good opportunity to come in, get a good win, something that they probably should have done on Monday night against the Bears, right? And they could do it this week. The Lions also have the 29th ranked rushing offense. I think Najee Harris has a really good day against them, and he takes the Steelers all the way. In terms of fading, I'm going against the Colts this week. I think minus 10.5 against the Jaguars team, a divisional game. I think that's a little bit too much. The Jags, look, they impressed me. I know it's one game and the Bills probably just messed up, but they looked competent, and I don't like giving Urban Meyer credit. That's not something I'm really in the business of doing. But they've looked a lot better in the last few weeks. They've covered in 3 of the last 5. They've only lost by single digits in 4 of the last 5. So I think minus 10.5. The Colts are 11-10-1 against the spread in divisional games in the Frank Reich era, right? So this game can really go either way. I think Jacksonville can get there. I'm not saying that they're going to win, but I think 10.5 is a lot of points. So I'll take Jacksonville.
I think that's fair. I think your point about the Colts is really interesting too, because especially starting off the year, they should be that team that kind of gets things under control, but they've always been bad under Frank Reich to start the year, and then they tend to make more adjustments as the season goes on. But yeah, I think about that game against the Jets from last Thursday where they just completely destroyed them. Now, granted, they lost, Ian's MVP of the season, Mike White, early on in that game, but who knows whether or not that should completely change the direction here. Also, our buddy Reed checks in. Our guy said he appreciates the opportunity to fade the Titans, so he's with you on that one, Ian. And then our young Acorn is just, feels really hurting for the Detroit Lions this year. So they're absolutely
I'm sorry,
embarrassed.
young Acorn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a tough year.
Pour one out.
Is there a worse team to be a fan of than the Detroit Lions? Just hopelessness every single year. It's tough.
So.
I don't know if there is, but I will say this as an Indiana football fan. I think there's a lot of similarities that when they have that good season, you're ahead of everybody on the bandwagon because then everybody's rooting for you, but you can say that you were an OG. You were ready to go. You were there from the very beginning. But for, 95% of the time, it's an unmitigated disaster. I feel like that's how
at least.
Yeah. It has to be. So for my picks, I liked the fact you brought up the Bills. And I kind of feel like the Chiefs and the Raiders sort of remind me of those two teams, especially with the Chiefs. You just don't know which team is going to show up. They're 2-7 against the spread this year, and now they go for Sunday night to play at Vegas. Both of Kansas City's against the spread wins have come on the road against really terrible NFC East teams. Their offense, by the way, is in repair. Like Patrick Mahomes only has 2 touchdowns over his last 3 games. That's the lowest of his career. And yeah, their defense has gotten better, but it's still bad. Like, I don't know if we can really look at what we've seen from them against Daniel Jones on Monday night and then against Jordan Love as any sort of indicator that the Kansas City defense has been fixed. So, last week, as far as the Raiders went, it felt like the perfect time to fade them, going from the West Coast to the East Coast to play in New York. I'm not fading them this week. The fact that I can still get them at +3 at home in prime time feels like an ideal spot for me to go ahead and get on Las Vegas. And then the game that I'm fading this week, again, just 2 teams that I feel have been very Jekyll and Hyde this year, Cleveland Browns, New England Patriots. Won games that they shouldn't have won, lost games that they shouldn't have lost. You just don't know which team's going to show up. The Patriots have been awful at home. That hasn't happened in 20 plus years. The Browns will sack you 9 times like they did against Chicago in week 3, then give up a combined 79 points in back-to-back games following that. So that just feels like a matchup that I just want nothing to do with. Let's move on. We got a couple minutes left. So it is Thursday. It is time for our best bets. Every time that we are on Bet and Breakfast together, we like to go through our favorite bets of the night and share them with you guys. So I will start off with Donnavan this time. Donnavan, is there a play this week? It could be in the NBA, could be for Thursday Night Football, could be NHL, where I think we got like an 11-game slate tonight. What's your best bet for Thursday?
I love Hollywood Brown tonight against Miami. So I got the line at 59.5. It's now 62.5 over at WinBet. I still love it. Hollywood has hit this in 6 of his 8 games. He's gotten double-digit targets in 3 of the last 4. The Dolphins have a bottom 3 passing defense in terms of, opponent passing yards given up. I think Baltimore has a very explosive day. If Lamar goes off through the air, Hollywood is going to be the main, beneficiary. And so I might even sprinkle a little bit on an anytime touchdown score. I think this is going to be a really, really big game for Hollywood.
I'm in agreement with you. I think Hollywood gets into the end zone. I think Lamar has a really solid game. I'll get to mine in just a second. But what about for you, Ian? Is there a play for tonight, either an NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, whatever you want it to be, that is your Thursday night best bet?
Yeah, and also just a quick point to support Donovan's pick there. I like that pick quite a bit. No team gives up more plays of 20-plus yards through the air than the Dolphins. So that sets up Hollywood Brown nice. But for my pick, I'm taking a shot at a big underdog tonight. I'm looking at the only college football game tonight, actually, and that's UNC against Pittsburgh. I'm taking UNC on the money line at +195. I think UNC is a lot better than what their record is. 12th in yards per play in the country. And the way to kind of beat UNC's defense, their defense generally isn't good, but the way to really beat their defense is by running the football, because they have a terrible run defense, 97th in the country in opponent yards per play. But that's not what Pittsburgh does. Pittsburgh is a throwing team. They get the majority of their yards through the air. And that's kind of where UNC's defensive strengths lie, is in the secondary. So close conference game. I'm going to take a little shot on UNC on the money line tonight. I believe it's plus 195.
Yeah, plus 195 last time we checked before we started the show over at WinBet. Love the call. Also, Brian checks in on the chat, says the only thing that might be more hard than being a Lions fan is being a Falcons fan. So slight shot in the direction of one Iain MacMillan.
It's a different kind of heartbreak. The Falcons set us up and then tear us down. The Lions are just like steady bad.
Right.
It's different but similar.
It sort of depends on kind of like how you enjoy your suffering.
Exactly.
Pick your pain.
I'll make mine quick. I like the over on Lamar Jackson's passing yards. I saw it at 236.5 over at WinBet. That's at minus 115. Dolphins are bottom 3 in the league at opposing yards allowed in the passing game. But Lamar has had a reputation of slaying bums over the course of his career, and Miami is a bum team. And I actually think this game might be a little higher scoring than people expect because Baltimore has given up a lot of chunk plays this year as well. That's going to keep Lamar from being able to just go ahead and hand the ball off to Devontae Freeman or Le'Veon Bell or whoever else is going to be there. Latavius Murray comes back. So I think you're going to see more opportunities. And also Pro Football Focus said the number 1 rated passer in the league with a clean pocket this year has been Lamar Jackson. So he will throw the ball downfield. Mentioned Hollywood Brown Donnavan. I think that's a really good play as well. I'll go ahead and take the over on Lamar. There you have it, guys. It is our Bet and Breakfast Thursday best bets. We are so glad that you hung out with us today, had a cup of coffee. Appreciate you guys waking up with us. We'll be back next Monday for a brand spanking new edition of Bet and Breakfast. So for my guys, Iain and Donnavan, thanks to everybody for watching and weighing in on the chat as well. I am Ben. We will see you guys. Make sure you guys check us out by going over to fansided.com/betsided. Be good, everybody.